Arun wasn't particularly strong or exceptionally clever. But he had one thing, a dream. He wanted to climb the tallest mountain that overlooked his village, a peak that even the bravest of men hesitated to conquer. The village folk often mocked his ambition. "You're too small, too weak," they would say. Laughing, yet Arun wasn't deterred. He spent his days collecting pebbles by the river. Every time someone doubted him or made fun of his dream, he picked up a pebble and put it in his pocket. Soon, his pockets were heavy, weighed down by the weight of their doubts, their sneers, and his own fears. But still, he pressed on. One day, as he stood at the base of the mountain, he reached into his pockets and felt the pebbles, now smooth from his constant handling. "These," he thought, "are the very words that people said would stop me." He took a deep breath, tightened his shoelaces, and began to climb. The journey wasn't easy. His legs ached, his back strained, and his hands were blistered. Each step seemed harder than the last. The weight of the pebbles dragged him down, making every movement feel like a battle. At one point, exhausted and close to giving up, Arun sat on a rock. He looked down at the village, now a small speck far below, and then up at the peak, still a daunting distance away. His heart pounded with frustration. He could hear the echo of voices in his head. "You can't do it." In that moment, Arun realized something. It wasn't the mountain that was too hard to climb. It was the weight of the pebbles. The doubts, fears, and insults he had carried with him were slowing him down. So, one by one, he started taking the pebbles out of his pocket. Each time he dropped one to the ground, he whispered, "This doesn't belong to me anymore." With every pebble he left behind, he felt lighter. His steps grew surer, his legs stronger. By the time Arun reached the summit, his pockets were empty and his heart was full. He stood on the peak, the entire world stretching out before him, and smiled. He had done it. Not just because he was strong or clever, but because he let go of the weight that wasn't his to carry. When Arun returned to the village, the same people who had mocked him now gathered around, amazed. "How did you do it?" they asked. Arun smiled softly and said, "Sometimes, the only thing standing between you and your dream is the weight of other people's doubts. The moment you let them go, you become unstoppable." From that day on, Arun became known as the boy who taught the village that success isn't about strength or size. It's about believing in yourself and letting go of what holds you back. Moral of the story: we all carry the weight of others' doubts and fears. But to reach our goals, we must learn to let go of the things that do not serve us. The path to success is lighter when we carry only our belief in ourselves.